This is the second part of this video from my channel. So I presented in that video two people that allegedly haven't received emails I sent, but I'll now go only with the second. So she's a psychologist, I think. I'll see here, I sent her part of the, psychologist. So this is a foundation for basically protecting the children, which should be a something that state does by definition. So these are previous messages I've shown in first part of the video. I pointed at the beginning of this video. So I asked her, once again, if she received that email I sent, because she was also addressed, it was like 200 people addressed. So, email list. So she said here, once again, she haven't received it. When I sent her this video, this is also from my channel, I recorded email I sent on the 16th. This is error, should be 21. When I sent her the evidence that that she's in the list of people who received email, people that I sent email to. So she said it's okay, and as you can see, nothing after that. So so this should be the last message in the first part of the video. So there are some new messages. So on Tuesday, when I was reading newspapers, I found something about net patrol, that is internet patrol, and she's mentioned here. So Ružica Radović. Ružica means small rose, so it's diminutive or diminutive, whatever it is pronounced correctly, of Rose. So small Rose, that's her name, and her surname is Radović, which is actually not surname of people who lives in Serbia. People who are originally from Serbia. So this Radović surname is from Montenegro. So she's immigrant. I'll explain in other videos why this is important. I explained actually, but YouTube removed that video. So I tried to split it to see what part was problematic for them, but I had problems with DaVinci Resolve, and then I'll simply do it the other way. And of course, I tried to just split files with the QuickTime Player, but it doesn't work for large files for some reason. It's very, very quick when you split them. I haven't tried with other software. So when DaVinci Resolve does that, when you trim it, I try to change the parameters, but the file is really, really large. And when you do it with QuickTime Player, it just split the files and trims it. It's just very, very simple. So no rendering. This is important. Okay, so I asked her. I sent her to Ružica. I sent Ružica this part of this article. So this is recent article. I mean, like 2 or 3 days old, and from maybe published around 4 days, 2 to 4 days ago, and I asked her here who is financing this, because the guy who is the founder of this foundation is the guy whose daughter was raped and murdered. I think she was 15 years old. It was a huge scandal back then. I think that happened 2015, maybe 17. Let me see. So his name was Tijana. Her name was Tijana. Let's see, what was the... Yeah, 2014. So that's she. And that's her, sorry. So he founded that foundation, but the problem is that he was convicted for before that happened to her daughter, to his daughter. He was convicted for stealing a huge amount of oil. And basically, someone who's convicted for such a crime cannot be founder, cannot be at the top of in charge of any money, basically. So first, this is illegal. I think I mentioned that here. Second thing that I noticed one is about the something that broke out in like 3 months ago. So this guy is, look at his face. So this is so-called top politician here in Serbia. The guy is a criminal. He barely has primary school. He finished some comic courses, but he's basically illiterate. But he stole a lot of money, and he can buy everyone, basically. And I presented that in one of my other videos, my channel. So he is involved in that scandal I mentioned, which has to do with pedophilia, actually, child prostitution ring. I think it's only girls. So some local newspapers wrote about that. Wrote about that in 2014. So he's into business with charcoal, and of course this is a huge money. So he bribed some important people. Bribed because he became a politician. He bribed. He's famous for bribing the poor people, the Tsigani, or how people call them, Roma or Gypsy. So that's wrong. Their real name is Tsigani or Indians. They are from India. And Tsigani actually is in Greek and means untouchables, and that's actually their original name. So not Roma, not Romali, not Gypsy. Gypsy actually means Egyptians, but Tsigani or Indians. So they are the lowest class, the lowest caste, which is below all other classes. So it's not castes. It's not in the. It's not within the caste system of India. So they moved here to Europe and during Ottoman Empire reign. So he basically bribed them. So they have here in Serbia and in other Eastern European countries all benefits, and they are used, as you can see, for voting, for controlling political scenery and voting and so on and so on. So recently that scandal broke out, and what I noticed, so this is the guy whose daughter was murdered. So as I said, he's founder of that foundation. So what I noticed is that he talked about this guy, and then he was simply silenced. And what I asked him in those messages is why he didn't mention it. He was interviewed multiple times during that time. I mean, this simply stopped. So people, journalists simply stopped to talk about this guy. And as you can see, this is a severe type of incestual features, the worst. So the reason why people stopped, journalists stopped writing about that is because it turned out, I mean, it is even mentioned in that article published by local newspapers, so not popular newspapers, so something local. They're not popular, and I think that don't even exist anymore. The archive is still, their articles are still on the internet. So this guy was organizing sex parties with mostly minors. It's described in detail I presented that article in this video, first part of this video. And what I asked here in these messages, the founder of this foundation, is why he didn't mention in any of interviews with him. As you can see, these are one of the most popular. This is one of the most popular channels in Serbia. So they invited him for an interview, and he didn't mention that foreign ambassador was involved in those sex parties. So this is why this guy is protected. If he falls, some very important people will fall. So I asked him that, and they didn't answer. So this lady only gave me her email address, and I sent her all other data related with my case. I explained this already. So then I asked her, as I said, on Tuesday, to explain about those net patrols. So everybody knows what are net patrols. So people are constantly on the internet, and they're checking out if there are some sites which are basically trying to seduce. So those are people, pedophiles, which are trying to seduce minors, presenting themselves as younger people, as kids, and so on and so on. So they're basically trying to find those sites and to report them. But after I asked her who is paying for that, is it taxpayers' money, I after that explained that those net patrols doesn't really have any sense, because there are countries which are so-called unreachable countries that doesn't cooperate with other countries in terms of organized crime. So they have websites that you can access. So even if some official institution, international, send them request for the identity of some criminal who is using their network, internet network. They won't do it. They won't send the data. So as long as those countries like that exist, then those net patrols doesn't have any sense, and generally it's impossible to control that. This is just simply a fraud. This is simply the same thing as NGOs. You cannot solve those problems in the way they think that can be solved, and actually even they don't think it can be solved in that way. They just want to some easy money. So usually those people, at least in Serbia, are children of communists, of their soldiers, commie soldiers, ex-commie intelligence, and so on and so on. So they are accustomed. It's normal for them to have some easy job and basically have salary for doing nothing, receive salary for doing nothing. So I also mentioned here, so this is again inaccessibility. It's not just those countries which are sort of in some conflict with other countries, political conflict, and so on and so on. But there are some countries which are basically ruled by criminals, like in Kosovo, because I know a guy from Macedonia. His laptop, I think it was some expensive, like 2,000 euros MacBook or something like that. I was working on a project with that guy. So again, he's from Macedonia, and he was able to find, based on access from that computer after it is after they stole it, after it was stolen. So he was able to track it, and he figured out that it's in Kosovo. And then when he went to police, they say they don't have access. They don't have any sort of cooperation with police of Kosovo, actually Kosovo and Metohija. And I also gave here an example of Kosovo and Metohija. So yeah, I won't that I will put all of this communication on internet. And as you can see, I sent her message yesterday. So today is 25th of June this year, of course. So I once again asked her to answer that question for me, and I gave her the part of the first video. I pointed her to, so as you can see, it's her part from here. So if I start it, so these are the messages I sent her, and this is so it can be seen here. Well, actually this is 2019, but it was the other article, which is from 2014, about this guy who is running a pedophile ring. So I presented in this video the whole article, and this guy is involved in some serious crime. It's organized crime. Okay, so that would be all.